welcome to everyone joining us today for our VCRC workshop. And to those of you watching the recording, we hope you are all healthy and safe right now. So today you guys are going to hear from Sarah Hall, the SCPS 2020 Teacher of the Year in Florida, with many qualifications. She has advice for your classroom, book suggestions, and would love to answer your burning questions about your first year of teaching. For those of you who have attended our workshops before, this one does not have a PowerPoint. There will still be a resource sheet from our presenter that will be shared at the end of the presentation, including 6 prizes to give out. And this workshop doesn't have a PowerPoint because Sarah Hall is a very interactive, engaging teacher who wants to focus on you and your needs and your questions. So feel free to turn on your video, use the chat box to ask questions and engage. Make sure your microphone is muted until prompted by our presenter. And I'm going to send a link in the chat for you all to sign in. And you need to sign in during this workshop so that you can get your certificate and your recording emailed to you in a few days. We are going to start in about 2 to 3 minutes. So use this time to introduce yourself in the chat box. Tell us what you hope to gain from this workshop. Then we will have our lovely presenter introduce herself and begin in about 2 minutes. So we are going to get started now. Just a quick tip, as we said, this is a very interactive workshop. Sarah Hall is here to answer your questions, give you advice, and focus on everyone here. So you can turn on your video, but make sure your mic is muted unless prompted. So again, advice for Zoom, there is up in the right-hand corner something called gallery view and speaker view. Make sure you are on gallery view so you can see all the lovely people that have joined here from all over the nation. And Sarah Hall can go ahead and introduce herself and get started.
This is so exciting. Thank you so much, Katie. Give me a thumbs up or a heart if you guys can hear me, if you can see me. Yay, a thumbs up or a heart. Hey guys, I am so excited to be here with you all tonight. I was thrilled when Katie reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to do this. And if it was possible to not only respond in all caps, but also some kind of fireworks, I would have done that as well. I was so excited to jump on and see all of you. So let's go ahead and get started by me introducing myself so that you have a frame of mind as far as who this information is coming from. So like Katie said, my name is Sarah Hall and I am a classroom teacher. So that is really what makes me who I am as far as sharing information with you all. I am in the trenches, so to speak, every single day. So everything that I'm sharing with you is something or things that I put into practice daily. I am the 2020 Seminole County Public Schools District Teacher of the Year. So I won Teacher of the Year for Seminole County here in Central Florida last year, and it was very exciting. I also was awarded the Key to the City of Longwood, Florida for a reading program that I started. I also was the recipient last year of the Community Hero Award from A Hero for Kids, again, for the reading program that I initiated here in Longwood, Florida. I also have been celebrated for excellence in education by the Florida Department of Education, United States Congress, Senator Rick Scott, Senator Marco Rubio, and Disney World. I have been in the classroom for 17 years. My Bachelor of Science degree is from the University of South Florida in elementary education. So I'm certified kindergarten through 6th grade everything. I also have my master's from UCF in reading education. So I'm certified reading kindergarten through 12th grade. I also have my ESOL endorsement, and I love being in the classroom. I love teaching. I also love connecting with you all. So this is what really fills me with so much joy, because I'm able to invest in you all and share what I've learned, share what's gotten me to where I am. But also, please remember that all the accolades I shared, I'm honored and so appreciative of every single one of them. They mean the world to me. But what also means the world to me are staying connected with my kids and my families. I have students that I taught that have reconnected with me to tell me they're graduating from high school. Students that still have their parents text me or email me pictures of their summer vacations and tell me that now they're in 5th grade and they're acing all their assessments. That's what really means so much to me. Also, connecting with you all and hearing and celebrating with you all when you get your first teaching job and you enter the classroom and finish your first year of teaching and feel that success. So that means just as much to me. I know that there's a lot of craziness happening right now in education, especially with this shutdown and digital learning and e-learning and everything. I have to be honest with you, as much as I am staying home and taking those precautions, it also is a little bit nice in that I have had the absolute busiest year. I think people always talk about FOMO. I always say I have ROMO, relief of missing out. I love being able to stay home when I have that free time and reconnect with my family and friends. And so this is what's given me that joy right now, is being able to stay home. And although it's a hard time, we're going to celebrate the Romo. We're having relief of missing out. We're not having to be out there in the hustle and bustle. We're staying home, staying safe, and making sure that we're setting the example. We're the civil example for what we want our students and families to be doing. And right now, that's staying home and taking care of ourselves and our families. So if we can share that with families and let them know that we're here, but we're living life from our homes too, that just, I think really gives them the inspiration to stay home as well, because we know that teachers are go-getters and we're out there trying to change the world, but right now we're going to try to change the world from our couches, right? So stay home with me, stay healthy. I see some of you are chatting in the chat box. Let's do a quick check-in. What I would love for you to do for me right now is tell me, okay, we're going to get in the nitty-gritty. If you already know me, or if you don't know me, you're going to learn quickly. I love to keep it real. I love to stay approachable and connected with you all. I never pretend to be anybody that I'm not. And right now, one of the main things happening in my life are the snacks in my pantry that I have accumulated for staying home. So we're going to get in the nitty gritty and be real here. As I keep talking, put in the chat box, what is a snack that you have in your house right now that you cannot keep your hands out of? I'm going to tell you 2 of mine, because I can't even tell you just one, because there's 2. Carrots, oh my goodness, I wish mine were carrots. Mine are Tostitos chips that have the hint of lime, and then Thin Mints that I put in my freezer. It's a problem. It's a situation. I need to stop, but I can't. Hot Cheetos, Goldfish, Lunchables. How funny. Okay, I'm going to tell you, you guys, listen, I'm the first to tell you that I'm silly and crazy and weird things happen to me and you just have to laugh about it. I had not been to the grocery store in so long that I finally went a few days ago. I broke down and went to get me through so I could stay home. And apparently I bought so much food that it's just me here at my house, but the person bagging my groceries asked me if I was having a party. I'm not having a party. Maybe I am, and it's just me and all the snacks I bought. But listen, when in quarantine, make sure you've got the snacks. So, anyways, I'm seeing lots of great snacks. I love it. Smoothies. I love smoothies too. All right, so we did a snack check. We're ready to keep going. The next is that I want to tell you all that, you know what, through this quarantine, I love you all so much. This is an act of true love. Are you ready for this? I changed out of my PJs to dress up and get on here for you because, okay, I want you to take a look. If you think that I dress like this every day to teach first grade, you're right. I'm at the fanciest elementary school that there ever has been. No, but I love you guys and I wanted to look nice for you. So I even changed out of my PJs for you. Next, let's talk about a few things. So we're going to talk about first year teaching tonight. And if you can't giggle along the way, you're not going to last. So we have to find the giggles. Cody, I'm loving the puppy. Thank you for bringing her on. Um, so we have to find the giggles. So I'm going to share with you a few things that as a first year teacher, or even as a classroom teacher, I want you to know that you will say things that nobody else in any other job would ever say. Okay, so as a teacher, your things will come out of your mouth that other people in any other job will never say. I'm going to share a few of them with you. Are you ready for this? Here's the first one. Please stop licking your backpack. An important life lesson, right? A rule of life. Please stop licking your backpack. Important, right? Here's another one. In first grade, we don't growl at our friends. We don't growl at our friends. Still true as adults, right? We don't growl at our friends. Are you ready for another one? Well, if you didn't finish wiping, why did you come out of the bathroom? Again, a life lesson. So we have to giggle. We have to have fun. You will say things as a first year teacher and as a classroom teacher that nobody else in any other job will say. I promise you that. And here's another little piece of advice. When you have those giggles and you find those things that make you laugh as your first year teacher, write them down. I wish I had. There's so many things that every once in a while something will jog my memory and I'll remember a funny story, but write them down because I promise you, you'll want them one day. So we're going to jump into a few things that I think are most important for you to remember in your first year of teaching. I have some books I want to share with you, and then we're going to open it up to questions. So in the teaching world, a lot of time we call professional development sessions a sit and get. We're not going to sit and get, we're going to receive and also give, right? This is going to be reciprocal. So I want you all to give as much as I'm giving, and that I want you to be thinking of questions. I'm an open book. I'm happy to share with you whatever I know. I don't hold secrets about what it's like to be a teacher. If I don't know, I'll tell you. There's also some things that I'll say, maybe only true for me or maybe only true for a few people, but again, I'm an open book and I'll share everything I can. So be thinking of questions. That's what I need from you all, okay? So we'll get to that too. The first thing I want to share with you all about your first year of teaching is that it is all about relationships. I want you to remember that. It is so important for you to connect with your families and connect with your students. This is really important. If you don't hear anything else I say tonight, hear this. Students will not reach their highest potential if they don't think their teacher likes them. I'm going to say it one more time because that's how true this is. Students will not reach their highest potential if they don't think their teacher likes them. So it is our job to like them. It is not our job to be best friends with them and want to stay in contact with them for the rest of their lives. Hopefully you'll want to stay connected with them and you'll see that that investment is meaningful and worthwhile and that it does last a lifetime. My third grade teacher, my beloved Miss A, came with me when I won District Teacher of the Year as my date. I am still in contact with her. She is one of the loves of my life. I love Miss A so much. And these are relationships that are going to matter like that for you too. So make sure that you're making the intentional investment to build those relationships with your students. If they like Pokemon, talk about Pokemon. If they like Fortnite, talk about Fortnite. If they like, I don't know, some show on TV, then that's what you talk about. Get to know them, get to know their interests. And it doesn't always have to be formal. It could be kind of an organic thing. So hopefully in your classes in your undergraduate degree, you're hearing about different kinds of reading assessments, and one of them is an interest inventory. It is a way for you to be able to kind of formally, it's what we would call an informal assessment, but it's a way for you to kind of formally ask students questions to get to know them. But it can be way more organic than that. It can be while walking in line. It can be while out at recess. It could be during lunch. It could be when you're getting out your materials for your guided reading group. But ask them questions, celebrate them, love what they love, and I promise you they're going to feel those connections. That's what's going to get you through to the content that you're going to need to deliver with them. So they're going to be more motivated and more engaged to hear your content if they believe you like them. And at the end of the day, that's our job, to like them. So we're adults. We choose to like them, even the ones that are more of an investment through behavior issues or whatever it is. We like them. So make sure that that is an intent of yours. Again, through relationships, you're building that trust with their families. So investing in the community as well, going out to community events, going out to restaurants that are in your community where you teach. Personally, I live about 40 minutes from where I teach. So for me, that looks like going to the ballpark on Saturdays sometimes when I know it's Little League opening day and there's food trucks or whatever, and just kind of walking around and chatting with my families. I can't do that every single weekend, and I'm not suggesting any of you do that. But the point is, be connected with your community, get to know your students. There is a reading researcher named Paulo Freire, and his theory related to education says that in order for teachers to truly make connections with our students, we have to get out there and connect with them in their communities. So he would tell us to take a tour, so to speak. Get out there and take a tour of the community where you're going to be teaching, and just get to know the restaurants the students go to, the stores they go to, the parks they go to. So when they say, oh, this weekend I'm going to this park, or I'm so excited, last night we went to my favorite restaurant, it's such and such, you know what they're talking about. So get out there, take a tour, so to speak, invest in the community, invest in your families. The next is that I always try to incorporate social emotional learning in my classroom. So it's kind of a buzzword right now, but we're going to break it apart together. So when we talk about social emotional learning, we're talking about students being able to learn with a connection to their feelings. So if students are coming to school and they're happy, and they are ready to learn, they're excited to learn, they feel ready for their day, then I can take it from there. Differentiation is what we do. So academically, I can take it from there. I can differentiate and academically reach the needs of my students. But if they're coming to me scared and hungry and anxious and not feeling ready for the day, it's much more of an uphill battle for me as their teacher. So that looks differently for everybody, whether it's having a snack drawer in your classroom or making sure your students have whatever it is that they need to feel more comfortable for the day. So getting ready for the day, doing those mental health check-ins and asking your students. I've seen beautiful charts in the classroom where you're asking for your students emotional check-in. I love that. But it doesn't have to be that elaborate. It could be, hey, how are you? What did you do last night? What did you eat for breakfast? What book are you reading at home right now? Ask them questions and they will tell you. They'll probably tell you more than you want to know, but they'll tell you. So ask them questions. Also, with that connection to how they're feeling, I want you all to, I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge to do after we finish talking tonight. I would love for you to dive a little bit deeper into the trend called Maslow before Bloom. So if we think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, so food, feeling safe, all of those things, okay? So remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and then Bloom's taxonomy, the taxonomy of the hierarchy of learning. So the hierarchy of cognition. Remember Bloom's taxonomy, the pyramid, and it has the different layers. Okay, so it has knowledge all the way up to create. The implication of Maslow before Bloom is that if students' immediate needs are not met, then they're not going to be able to tap into their critical thinking. So what does that look like for us? What does that mean for our jobs? That means that we have to make sure students have their first immediate needs met before we can connect them to any kind of learning. If students are not feeling safe, or they're worried, or they miss their caregiver, or they haven't eaten breakfast, then they are not going to care about the lesson that you stayed up preparing or the materials that you have prepared for them for the day. Okay, so an important thing to remember: Maslow before Bloom. There are a lot of other ways you can incorporate social emotional learning in your classroom. I got rid of my kind of timeout area, so to speak, a few years ago. And I have adopted, I'm not going to go far into this for the sake of time, but I would love for you to dig deeper on your own after this into Maslow before Bloom. And then also the idea of conscious discipline. Conscious discipline is a behavior model that was developed by a woman here actually in Orlando, where a lot of us are. Her name is Dr. Becky Bailey. And again, the name of that behavior model is conscious discipline. And it has revolutionized my classroom and my behavior management. I do not use timeout. I do not have a behavior chart in my classroom. And this is in first grade, but I want you to know that last year I also did this in kindergarten. So no timeout, no behavior charts, no behavior clips. One of my favorite people that I follow online is Brian Mendler. And he said, "My behavior is not a decoration for your classroom. Get the behavior chart off the wall." He also said, if you are a teacher and you have a behavior chart hanging in your classroom, you have forfeited the right to tell your students to mind their own business. That's powerful, isn't it? So giving students that discipline with dignity, and that's the title of his book, Discipline with Dignity. I would also love you to check that out if you would like. And these resources, if you check them out, connect back with me. I would love to hear your thoughts on these. And we can, if you're local, we can meet for coffee. If you're not, we'll have a Zoom chat, but I would love to talk to you about it. But it's important to know that there are a lot of different ways that you can equip your students to connect socially and emotionally with the learning. So we're giving them the tools they need to be able to. The book, Alex, is Discipline with Dignity. And it is by Brian Mendler, Mendler. I always say he's my best friend. He just doesn't know it yet. So one of these days, I'm going to go to one of his conferences and meet him. But Discipline with Dignity is a great one. But really being able to equip our students is our ultimate goal. We want them to be able to self-monitor their emotions, self-regulate. A lot of these are buzzwords. Give me a nod if you've heard any of these words before. Self-regulate, self-monitor, right? So we want them to be able to first identify their emotions and then be able to advocate for what they need to be able to manage that throughout the day. So when I think of elementary students, this is particularly more for primary students, but not necessarily. If I have a student come in to me and say, "Miss Hall, my stomach hurts," or "my tummy hurts," I'm sure you can imagine that that could mean 10 different things, right? It could be that they're hungry, that they're worried about something, that they miss their caregiver. It could be that they are upset about something that happened at home. It could be they're upset about something that happened at school. So something as ambiguous as "my tummy hurts" is going to require us to be able to dig a little bit deeper. And it's so much more helpful when students can self-identify with more what that means, and then they can tell us. So we're not doing that guessing game of, do you need to use the restroom? Did you eat breakfast? Did you eat too much breakfast? Those kinds of things. So I want to share with you also about some books that I love using in my classroom. If you know me, or if you don't, you're going to learn really quickly that I love children's books. But really being able to drive that dialogue with students of what it sounds like to identify your emotions, what it means to problem solve, what it sounds like to self-advocate for what you need. That can all happen from picture books. So I'm going to share with you some of my favorites. And then if we're going to see how we're doing on time, I want to make sure that we have time for questions and giveaways, but I might, if we have time, walk you through one of these or two of these books. So here we go. The first one is, and I'm going to kind of show you these the best I can, but also at the end of the session, you're going to get a handout, a virtual handout that has all these titles and authors. So don't feel like you're having to rush to write all of this down, because you're going to get it. Okay, I already did the hard work for you. So I just want you to enjoy and look at the titles with me. This is called Worry Says What? And this is a great one about being able to talk about anxiety, which right now, a lot of our kids need this, right? The next one is Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon. This is a great one to talk about, even though you're little, you have great things in your future and you can contribute a lot even when you're little, right? This next one is Today I Feel Silly. It's by Jamie Lee Curtis. So this is another great one. This one is When Sophie Gets Angry, Really, Really Angry. This is a great one with a really fun dialogue, and it really talks through what to do when you're feeling upset, angry, mad, all those emotions that come with that. And this is one that I actually have 2 copies of that I'll be doing for my giveaway tonight. So there's 6 books total that we're going to be giving away. 2 of them are When Sophie Gets Angry, Really, Really Angry. Another one is ABC, Mindful Me. This one is a lot of great calming strategies and things that you can teach your students, breathing techniques, all those kinds of things. So another great one. Another one is The Pain and the Great One, and this is by Judy Bloom. This is a great one on perspective. So students are very egocentrical in that they think that the world is just who they know and what they know, and being able to get them out of that and realize that there's other perspectives is really important. There's another one called Feelings by Aliki. Wild Feelings is another great one. And after this, we're going to do questions. So I hope you're thinking of some. This is one of my new favorites. It's called Most People. And this is another one of my giveaways for tonight. Jabari Jumps is all about a growth mindset. If you don't know about growth mindset and fixed mindset, that'd be another fun thing for you to look up after tonight's session. Something Beautiful. Again, you're going to get this list. I Am Enough. This is another giveaway that I'll be giving out tonight. One of my favorites. What Does It Mean to Be Kind? I Am Kind. So this is a culture you set up in your classroom. You set up the culture of kindness and treating each other well, how to apologize. I know I have 2 brothers, and when we were little, if my mom said, go say sorry to your brothers, you know, it would sound kind of like this, I'm sorry, which really isn't an apology, right? So being able to also give your students the narrative to be able to know how to apologize. So in my classroom, when students apologize, they say, I'm sorry for, it was wrong because, I won't do it again, what can I do to make it better? Okay, so that narrative of being able to really walk through what it means to apologize, because they need to understand that somebody else is receiving that apology. It's a 2-way street, right? This is another one I love called I Walk with Vanessa. Leo the Late Bloomer. The Smallest Girl in the Smallest Grade. And the last one, Yo Yes. So for my giveaways for you all, I have 2 copies of Leo the Late Bloomer. I have 2 copies of When Sophie Gets Angry, Really, Really Angry. I have a hardback of I Am Enough and a hardback of Most People. So some great books that I cannot wait to get in your hands so that I can help contribute to your future classroom library. So at the very end, Katie is going to help facilitate drawing names, and then I will write you a little note inside and send it off to you, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy that with your future students. I'm getting a note from Katie, so I just want to look and see. I think she's talking about Oh, Katie's going to share with you some more secondary books. So if you're a secondary friend, then our facilitator, Katie, has some more resources that she's going to be able to share with you as well. So now what I would love to do is hop into questions, because you may have questions about things that I haven't covered, what it's like to interview, what it's like to have a parent conference. So really, I want to hear from you. So this is where you can either type it in the group chat over on the side, or you can unmute yourself. I think that there is a button to virtually raise your hand, but if Katie is fine with it as the facilitator, I'm fine with you just kind of sharing out. But if you have a question, again, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. But if I do, I'm an open book and I'll share what I can.
Oh, we can start?
Yeah, so whoever
okay.
has a question.
Oh, okay, cool. So I do have a question, kind of like what you were saying earlier about the clip charts and everything, and how like we shouldn't really have those. I do know with some schools they require it. How would we be able to kind of like compensate with that while, you know, still keeping everything still in check with the school and everything?
I love that, Desiree. Thanks for the question. You know what? I have found, and again, I've been in the classroom for 17 years. I've been at several different schools, and I've also been in several different counties. I have never been at a school where I have not felt the autonomy to make a decision for my classroom if I can back it up with research. So if you feel that this is what is best for your students, then you're the fighter for them, so to speak. You're the one that's speaking up and saying, I know my kids and I know what they need, and this is what is best for them. And then being able to back it up with research is really what's going to be able to show that you deserve that autonomy. And even as a first year teacher. So I would suggest that if this is something that you want to look into more, then look into Dr. Bailey's works of conscious discipline, read Discipline with Dignity by Brian Meller, and really dig into some research about what we know is best and best practices for students and their behavior development, and also social emotional learning. There's so many resources out there right now about it that I would suggest you do that. And you can always modify what's going to work for you and your school. So if your school is doing something that is a school-based behavior system and you want to modify what I'm talking about and kind of marry or merge two different philosophies or programs, get creative and use what's best for you. But remember that you're the one advocating for your kids. So do it with research, do it with humility, but be the one that will go up there and fight for what your kids need. I also see, yes, that's right. I also see another one. Do you think, I saw it just a second ago, something about flexible seating. So I do use flexible seating in my classroom. And I think that it is definitely something that you have to set up as far as how that works and what's going to work for you in your classroom. I like that students have the opportunity to learn and work how they know they do best.
Do you mind if I turn on the light?
If I, that's right. Go ahead and mute yourself if you don't mind, babe. Oh, there she did. Thank you. So if you might have learners that work best with a little bit of noise. You might have learners that work best with complete quiet. Some kids want to lay down on the floor with a clipboard because that's more comfortable. And some for them, it's too kind of a rigid setting to be at a desk with a chair. So whatever, that's going to be whatever works for you. If my students are working quietly and they want to stand up at their desk, that's fine. If they want to go get a clipboard and lay down on the floor, that's fine. If they want to get a lap desk, that's fine. So figure out what works for you and then set up how you want that to work. So these are the times you can, these are the times that you can't, these are the materials you can use, this is how you use them, that kind of a thing. Anybody else have a question they want to share out? And I'll kind of look through here.
I have a question.
Okay, hey Alex.
Hey, how are you?
Good, sweetie, how are you?
Good. Miss my face-to-face classes though.
I know. So Alex, I currently teach at UCF in the elementary ed program, and sweet Alex is in my class right now at UCF. So I miss you too, sweetie.
Yes, she's amazing.
Thank you.
Another question though, okay, so for what advice would you give teachers who have, I guess, like difficulty with the super hyperactive students? Because I know my younger sister, she's very hyperactive, and the teachers are always calling in saying that she's not paying attention, or she's not really concentrating. So my mom's always like, "You're the teacher, like what should I do?" And I'm like, well, like you find stuff that interests her to get her motivated to want to learn. But like other than that, would there be anything really else that would help?
Yes, thank you for that question, Alex. One thing that I love to do when I am trying to kind of problem solve what to do with a student in my classroom is to bring in the caregivers. So mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whoever is watching them, bring them in and have a conversation where you're really building that sense of a team and that home to school accountability. And I usually start off the conversation by saying, these are some things I'm noticing in the classroom. Do you notice these at home? Are you seeing this at home as well? And then if they say yes, then I can say, well, nobody knows your child better than you. What do you do that works at home that I can try here at school? So if you can go ahead and connect that relationship between home and school, as far as we're a team here, we're stronger together, and the parents are going to have information that can help us that we don't know. We're not in their homes. We don't know what happens after 3:15. So being able to leverage what is or isn't working at home to figure out what's going to work at school is going to be really effective. So I would say definitely connect with the parents and find out what's working for them. They know their students the best, or their children the best. Thanks for the question, Alex. I'm seeing another one over here about parent communication. Write down all parent communication. So even if your school does not require it, have a parent communication log. Write down every time you talk to a parent. Now, not if you say hi in the hall or you're waving in car line, but every time you have a conversation with a parent about the student, write down the date, write down who you spoke with, how you spoke with them. Was it email? Was it in person, phone call? What was it? And then what you talked about. And it's not a gotcha kind of accountability thing where you can go back and say, well, on September 13th, you said this. It's more of remembering what you've discussed, staying on the same page, and then also letting the parents know that what they're sharing with you matters and what you're talking about matters. So write it down, keep that communication. For the students at the end of the year that you feel like this is something that potentially would maybe need a conversation again next year, save that for the next year, otherwise shred it. But parent communication all the time. So I try to be open to parents to be able to communicate to me anytime they need to. And then I'm keeping that communication log and making sure that I am writing all of it down, but also that I'm constantly checking in with them too. So the other thing with parent communication is make positive phone calls home, send good notes home, do it a lot and do it in the beginning. And that's going to set the tone for the rest of the year. So the first week of school, find a reason to send a positive note home for every single one of your students. Find a reason to make a positive phone call home for every one of your students. And then you're going to start setting that trust and that rapport with the parents. Something that I do, a little trick of the trade, is at the beginning of every month, I print out a little certificate that says great job, and I print one out for every single student in my class, and I go ahead and write their name on the certificate. So every student has a certificate. I put it in a folder on my desk, and at the end of the day, I try to do maybe one or two. There's days I don't get to it, but when you notice a student is doing something really great, write it down, send the little certificate home saying, hey, I saw them do something fantastic today. I want to share it with you. And then I know at the end of the month, whatever certificates I haven't gotten to, or the kids that didn't get one. So the management of it is super simple. And then that way, every single month, without fail, every single student at least gets one positive note home. So a little trick of the trade that makes it really easy. Let's see. Yell out if you have another question. I'm looking through here. How do I prepare for parent conferences? So making sure that your data is up to date and you have your data ready to share with them is going to be important. Making sure that you always start with something positive, sharing with them something anecdotally that happened at school that is, you know, oh, I have to tell you what they said yesterday. It was so funny. Or, oh, I'm so proud of them because of this. Or I saw them sharing the slide out at the playground without anybody prompting them, and I was so proud. Or maybe, oh, they're a 5th grade student and I saw them in the hallway. They helped a kindergartner without anybody asking. So just something anecdotally that you can share with parents, a snapshot of something great they're doing during the day. And then make sure you have your data and make sure that you are prepared to share with them whatever it is that you're needing to talk about. So if you're talking about math, you have all your data. Reading, all your data. Hopefully that is helpful. And again, you're writing it down and keeping notes. Anybody else have a question? I'm looking.
I have a question that kind of goes on to the tail end of that.
Hi, my sweet friend Cody.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you, honey?
Oh, you know, living the dream. So I was interning before all this happened in the 3rd grade classroom, and so we were starting to get towards FSA time. And especially in a 3rd grade classroom, you have a lot of RTI, MTSS type meetings at the end where you're bringing all of that data to the parent. And I feel like 3rd grade is really when you start looking at, you know, starting to test for learning disabilities and, you know, starting to really use the process. What are kind of your tips for dealing with parents who are a little bit more reserved as far as getting their child tested or, you know, really participating in the process?
That's a great question. Thank you, Cody. We have to remember that the children that parents are sending to us at school are the best they've got. And that sounds a little tongue-in-cheek, but I'm going to walk you through that. So somebody said to me one time, Sarah, they're not keeping the good ones at home. They're not keeping the smart ones at home. They're sending you the best they've got. And we need to remember that these children that they're sending to us are their pride and joy. These are students that, or their children that it's hard to hear feedback that could potentially mean that their child isn't the child that they see. So if you're bringing up deficiencies, whether socially, academically, this could be the first time that the parent's hearing about it. Hopefully by 3rd grade it's not. But also, it's the tone and the intent that can really make the difference. And then also just making sure that all year long, you're building that relationship so that when those conversations do happen, those tough conversations, it's easier and it's coming from a place of care and not an accusation. And the way that that shifts for parents is dependent on every conversation you've had with them up to that one. So make sure that you're creating that foundation of communication at the beginning of the year. My kiddos that are struggling, I talk with those parents way more often than my kids that are doing well. I still communicate with them, but it's way more frequent with my students that are struggling. So that way, when you have those conversations, it's not, hi, Sarah Hall, I'm the teacher, nice to see you again. It's, hey, come on in, good to see you. I haven't talked to you since last week. How did the camping trip go last weekend? Well, come on in, we're gonna have a chat today. And I'm sure you can see the difference there. So get to know them, and those conversations are so much easier. But I love that question, Cody. Anybody else have one that they want to share out?
I have one.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in a question that I read in the chat. How e-learning or online learning is working with elementary school, and how you as an extrovert, because I'm pretty sure you're an extrovert, are dealing with this social distancing, because I'm struggling.
It is hard. So I definitely, thank you for the question. I definitely am an extrovert. I feed off of the energy of other people too. I love to be around people. True story, when I was a child, I got laryngitis and my mom took me to the pediatrician and the pediatrician said, "Are you sure you want me to fix her?" So I have always been a talker. This is a challenge. E-learning is going to be a challenge. I have never taught elementary school online before, but I'm going about it with the mindset that my job is to not create more anxiety in a stressful time. It is to support parents so that they can build a culture of learning in their home that maybe they haven't had the opportunity up until now. We know that students learn best, especially our youngest learners, learn best through play. And this is an opportunity, a unique opportunity for parents to be able to connect through play with their children that maybe they haven't had an opportunity to before. And things that I can't do at home. So I want my parents right now through e-learning. So I'm going to be following my district guidelines, but I also want my parents to be baking with their kids. Think of all the domain specific oral language development and vocabulary that are specific to baking, measuring, mixing, all of those things, playing dress up, playing board games, spending time together as a family. Bianca, thank you for the clap. Making sure that they're leveraging this time to build the kind of connections and culture in their home that is going to carry past when this is over. So it'll be a challenge, but I'm up for it because that's what we do as educators, and just supporting families to be able to support their kids is what's going to be most important. I've said this too to some of my other colleagues. If my kiddos come back to me and they're behind or they've regressed or they've forgotten some content that I taught them, differentiation is what we do. I can handle that. But if these kiddos come back and they're stressed out and depressed and scared and unhappy, that's much more of an uphill battle. So if they come back to me happy and still excited to learn, I've got it from there. Great question though. We are about to do the giveaways in about 2 minutes. So does anybody have a last question they want to? Caroline, hi, sweet Caroline.
So my question is that, my biggest fear of being like in the classroom first year is just me losing it because of, let's say if I have students that are crazy and I don't know how to like handle them. So what are some tips to manage high stress in the classroom?
I love that, Caroline. Thank you. A few things to remember are, and this is again, I'm going to go back to my BFF, Brian Mendler. He would share, and he has shared on Twitter, follow him. But he said it is way more important in a stressful conversation with a child for the teacher to have the second to last word. Think about a conversation that has a high stress point. Typically, the last word is always out of emotion, right? Well, I told you so. Or see exactly what I said. Or, I don't want to do it anyway, or something like that. It's always out of stress, out of emotion. So for teachers, it's more important and more effective for us to have this second to last word. What they say after I finally made my point is just they're 5 or 8 or 10 or whatever, and we're going to give them some grace in that moment. Also, making sure that you're not arguing with children. It should never be a power struggle or a power fight. Make sure that you are getting to know your students so you have that rapport with them. You have that connection with them so you can sit down and have a conversation about what's going on, and they can hopefully open up to you. But I think my 2 biggest takeaways would be never get in a power struggle with a child, and it's more effective to have the second to last word in a high pressure conversation. But that was a great question, Caroline. I feel like I could do this all night with you guys. In just a moment, I'm going to turn it back over to Katie so she can do the giveaways. I can't wait to find out who's going to get these lovely books. Remember, she's also going to give you I'm rooting for you all too. Remember, you're going to get a virtual handout with all the titles and authors of the books that I shared. And I'm also doing 2 more of these sessions on Thursday. So if you would like to join me again, I'd love to see your beautiful faces again. On this Thursday, March 24th, I'm doing another session at 2 p.m. on family engagement. And I'm doing one at 4 p.m. just on social emotional learning in the elementary classroom. So I would love to see you again. Also, before we do our giveaways, this was too nice for this to be goodbye. So please stay connected with me. I don't want this to be the end of this. We're not going to say goodbye. We're going to say talk to you soon. So if you would like to connect with me on Instagram, my handle is @MeetMissHall. It's going to be in your handout, but I'm going to type it down here for you as well. @meet_miss_hall. So that's the one for Instagram. And then also, I'm even more active on Twitter, but on Twitter, I am @SarahHallKG. So that @MeetMissHall was for Insta, @SarahHallKG is Twitter. Please do not let this be goodbye. Connect with me. And again, if you dig deeper into any of the things we talked about, let me know. We can do a virtual meeting or have a virtual coffee one morning and chit chat about it. But I'm going to send it back over. I am on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn, Sarah Hall, and we can connect on there too. And I'm going to turn it back over to Katie so she can wrap this up for us and we can find out who's getting these giveaways.
Miss Hall, do that. You sent me your social medias privately and to me personally instead of the whole group. I just want to let you know. You sent your social media handles to me privately, and I know because it said it on the thing. So.
Oh, Tristan. Okay, first of all, hi, Tristan. I'm so happy to see your sweet face. Now I see it. You guys are so sweet. What would I do without you? Meet Miss Hall is Instagram and Twitter is @SarahHallKG. Tristan, thank you for telling me that. All right, so there we go. Stay connected. I'm going to kick it back over to Katie for the giveaways. Are you there, Katie?
Yes, I am here. Awesome. We're going to do the giveaways first, and then I can give you guys a good bunch of secondary books that are recommended also for the secondary majors who would like some book suggestions. So we have 6 winners, correct?
Yes.
6. Okay, awesome. So the names that were drawn are Deanna Petrosky.
Are you writing this down, Katie, for me?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Allison Boots, Megan McCluskey. I am so sorry if I butcher your name. Katie Carlin, Emily Esbree, and Grisella. Grisella, I didn't get a last name from you. Grisella.
Yay!
So can you guys go ahead and jump on the mic really quickly and tell us where you're from?
I'm from the University of Connecticut.
Wow.
Connecticut.
Awesome. Hi, Grisella. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm from Oakland University, which is outside of Detroit, Michigan.
Awesome.
Oh, man, all over the place. Okay.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm from New Jersey, but I go to Penn State.
Very cool.
Hi, Megan.
Hi, I'm Katie. I go to Westchester University in Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Woo! Pennsylvania showing up again.
Hi, I'm Deanna. I go to UCI.
Hello, Deanna. I have no idea who you are.
I know, complete stranger, right?
Baby, hello. And was that everybody? Was there one more?
There was one more in the chat.
Allison. Is Allison here?
Hers is in the chat.
Oh, hers is in the chat. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Pennsylvania again. Pennsylvania.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. If you're a winner, I'll write you a little note and give me some time as far as this social distancing and staying home. But I promise you, I will get those to you. And then it sounds like most of you are out of town, so we might have to do a little virtual meetup so you can tell me what you think about the book.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah Hall. You are amazing. We love you so much.
I
So
love you guys.
if you guys don't want to stick around for secondary major books, it's only going to take like a couple minutes. If you do, I can give you a couple professional development books and then some secondary lists. So if you're primary, you don't want to hear, you can log off. If not, stay tuned. I'll give you like 30 seconds.
I can't wait to find out what the secondary resources are too, Katie. This is awesome.
They are just a bunch of books that have been recommended to secondary
it.
majors for teachers, from teachers. So, and actually, I think some of these could be used in 5th grade too, so higher elementary. All right, so we can just go ahead. So It Won't Be Easy is a really good professional development one for teachers, and this is for all teachers, primary, secondary, whatever. So It Won't Be Easy is hilarious, it's fun, it's real, it's down to earth. It's teacher testimony. Sparks in the Dark was something I got from Scholastic. This one's really good. It's about illuminating and empowering students. So again, another professional development one. Go See the Principal. You guys need some fun in your life while also getting the nitty-gritty of what teaching is like. This one's hilarious. So Go See the Principal. And then Teacher Misery. Again, real, what do you call them? Excerpts from teachers' everyday lives, some good professional development, learning from teachers who share their experiences. So those are mostly professional development ones. I suggest this book series. This is mostly catered to middle school, but they have primary and secondary. And it's everything you need to know to ace and then blank. So I have the English one because I am English teacher, and it is set up so beautifully. So not only can like your students use this if you include it in your classroom library, but I have ADHD, I need this. I can't sit there and read an entire book, a novel, and so this is beautifully presented. And then I have a good couple book suggestions for classrooms, classroom libraries, or using them in your content area. If you are English majors, this will especially help you. So this one actually I recommend both for teachers and if you want to include it in your classroom library. I have shared this with my chapter before. That's Not What Happened covers a school shooting, and this is very popular literature right now. Again, my master's program is canonical text and young adult literature. There's a lot of themes with this and making sure students are able to deal with this type of tragedy. This is very middle school level. It deals with a tragedy, and the best part about this book is it doesn't mention the shooter's name. It is not the shooter's story. And one of my favorite kind of quotes from this is that I don't care if he had a bad home life. He became the villain in my story, and he doesn't deserve to tell his. So it's beautiful. It's great to keep in classrooms. This one would be more high school because it does deal with a little bit of, well, I mean, obviously it says lust on the title, so you're going to have parents who might push back with this, but this deals with identity with students, and it's very important. It's showing that even if you have a label, that label doesn't fit with everyone, and it also deals with some real life issues with LGBTQ plus students, a teacher that was accused of sleeping with a student, and this deals with all these types of really prevalent issues.
Katie, while you're bringing up the next one, are you going to be able to include these titles as well to everybody in some kind of a handout after? You're getting a lot of questions for that.
Sure, I'll put these, I'll email them. If you guys signed up on the link, you guys are going to get an email anyways in about 2 to 3 days with the recording and such. I will also include a link to all of these in there. This one's good for upper elementary too. So upper elementary, middle school, high school. It's Stolen Secrets, and my master's program tries to connect young adult literature to prevalent history. This talks about the Holocaust, but in a very narrative form of a girl's life, currently modern, and it's historical fiction. So it's very easy read, it's fun, it's adventurous, but it connects to a real history. These would be also middle school based. So this one is LGBTQ plus issues. It's actually, this could be upper elementary as well. This is from Scholastic, they sent me. Keeping LGBTQ plus literature in your classroom is going to be super important. You can get permission from your principal, you can't get things from teachers. One such way to put something like this in your classroom would be to have a section that says get parental permission before you check it out kind of thing. That's the easiest way to include anything controversial. So something like this is important to have identity-wise in your classroom. This one is Brave, and it is a graphic novel, and it is the most beautiful representation of middle school I have ever seen in existence. So, and graphic novels are also important to include, not just in elementary levels. You really need these in middle school and high school. I have a couple more that are mostly nonfiction ones. Oh, and then I totally forgot this one for teachers. You guys probably have seen this one. Teachers swear by it. Please get it. It's actually really good. This was actually gifted to me by my internship teacher, so I adore this one. This is framed like nonfiction. It's called Necessary Noise. It's a recent book, and I got this from one of my teachers who reviews books, and it depicts families as they really are. And they're short stories, easy reads, some poetry, very simple for kids, and they touch on a lot of subjects like mental health and abuse, and it's represented so beautifully and so simply that it can be middle school, high school. Fact versus fiction, this would actually be something for teachers. I highly recommend you start getting into books and research that talks about fake news and fact versus fiction. So this is critical thinking skills in the age of fake news. So you need digital literacy in your classroom. And this is actually primary as well, so pretty easy use. Oh, this one is primary. Shouldn't have kicked all the primaries out. Game Changer is mostly for younger students. I've used techniques inside here for secondary. This is from Scholastic again. It was gifted to me. It's just a lot of advice for teachers. So like creating diverse literature in your classroom. And it is truly a game changer. So that's another professional one for teachers. And then these ones, I'm just going to go through a little bit quick. I will put these all in here. These are some good things to include in your classroom to get kids interested in history, get kids interested in real life, authentic things that happen. So They Lost Their Heads are funny things that you didn't really think actually happened. Anything from National Geographic is going to be recommended 100% by me. They're beautiful. You need to include some good nonfiction. When I was a kid, I would go through stuff like this and I would just read because I wanted to know everything about my world. And these types of books, like Scientists Who Changed History, another really good one. It's absolutely beautiful to read. Connecting Important People. This one's mostly for literature majors, 100 Books That Changed the World. Highly recommend. I swear I only have 4 books left, guys. And
I love it.
It's just 100 books that changed the world. This has helped me with including historical literature in my classroom and not repeating the same things teachers do all the time. Because with primary, there's so many beautiful books out there. And then with secondary, we can't get a lot of these in our classroom. So I highly recommend some of these types of books. Not this one technically, but a less boring history of the world. If your kids are learning about history, they're going to find it really boring. You can include literature like this to kind of make it a little more interesting. I also tend to do that with literature in the classroom because I hated Shakespeare. I really did. You have to connect it to modern memes and such in order for kids to find it interesting. And then the last 2 are more social justice ones. So who did it first? You're going to want books that accurately depict marginalized groups. So Who Did It First is really, really good. It's, again, a middle school, primary. You can use this upper elementary. It's telling you the true history about these people. Because do you guys know that Alexander Graham Bell did not actually invent the telephone first? Yeah, so that's one of the basic ones that most people know. And then the Book of Pride. This one I do recommend. It is absolutely gorgeous because LGBTQ plus history right now in current times is trying to get into curriculum. I don't know if it's Michigan, but it might be Michigan or Virginia. One upper northern state is trying to implement LGBTQ literature currently, and they're getting a lot of pushback. So one of the great ways you can do this in your states is keeping literature in the classroom that you get approval from your principal, but you have students get parental signatures, and you can include this stuff in your classroom. So that was my giant book thing that I wanted to give people for secondary majors. Thanks, Sarah, for letting me take over that for a second.
No, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And remember too that our older students are just older little kids. So we don't want to offend them or be condescending in only providing material that they may think is beneath them or babyish, but everybody loves being read aloud to. So some of the stories that I share too could definitely be for older kids if done the right way. So don't be afraid to remember too that our bigger kids are just bigger little kids, but definitely we want to make sure that we give them opportunities to connect with texts on their maturity level too. So I appreciate that, Katie. This was amazing. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Katie and SNEA. Thank you for hosting me and inviting me and having me. I appreciated this so much. This is what is getting me through these potentially dark days, but seeing all of your smiling faces really just lightened my mood tonight and made me so happy. So again, thank you, SNEA and Katie specifically, for being our moderator. You did a fantastic job. And I know Katie hasn't been feeling the best. I hope you don't mind me sharing that, but just to share that Katie, you never would have known it, right? So she did a phenomenal job. And can you all on your screens give Katie a heart for get well soon and also awesome job. So thank you to Katie. And then thank you to you all for the questions and participating.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. That was very sweet. You guys can go ahead and log off. That is it for this workshop. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, Sarah Hall is presenting again. So if you really loved her, you're going to want to stop by Thursday. So we hope to see you guys again soon. You're going to receive your recording and resources in a couple days. So thank you guys. Good night.